What's up, YouTube? It's me, Evan, back with another video game collection video. This is for my absolute favorite Nintendo console ever made, the GameCube. So let's start here with the console. So this one came out in November of God only knows what year. And I remember they were releasing two colors at the same time, black and purple. And I was like, there's no way I'm getting a purple console. I was scared it was going to sell out. So I waited around for a midnight release at Walmart parking lot, freezing my butt off in Wisconsin, so that I could secure a black one because I did not want a purple one. And I got it, and it turned out it wasn't a sellout. It was a huge failure, the system, but it's my favorite. I mean, I had the most fun playing it. Um, yeah, awesome design, very tiny, compact, had a handle so you could take it to friend's house. I also added, because Game Boy Advance was a game I loved, game system I loved, so I added you screw it into the bottom of the system so you can play Game Boy Advance games on your TV instead of the handheld, which was a non-backlit screen. So I love the Game Boy Advance game, so I had to hook this up. Yeah, so Nintendo GameCube used tiny little discs, which I thought was unique. And again, with the Genius 4-player controller slots, so you can play party games. Back when this system was out, I actually had friends, so it was a lot of fun to play with people. Now on to some accessories. The controller. When I first seen this thing, I was like, what are they thinking? But then once you pick it up and put it in your hand, it's a great feeling. Love the triggers, the little Z button, big old A button. These are a little bit awkward, but main games usually only use these. The sticks feel good. D-pad's worthless. One of the worst D-pads ever made. But always comfortable. My hand never got sore. It fits perfectly into the palm of your hand. So this is the one that came with my controller. I mean, with my system bundled in. And then Nintendo did the smart thing again of coming out with different colors. I got orange because I never seen an orange controller before. I thought that was a cool thing. And then they were the first company to release a wireless controller that actually didn't have a million seconds of delay. It was really good. It wasn't as comfortable as the regular controllers because of the battery pack. You had to put the AA batteries in here. But it's still, I mean, the response was really well. It was a great controller. It was like a technological achievement at the time to have such little latency in your button inputs. So more accessories would be this disc is what you had to put in the system in order to play Game Boy Advance games. So you put that in the disk drive, and I don't understand technology, but it worked. That's all I know. Now on to the games. First game I ever bought was Luigi's Mansion. I bought two games that day. It was Luigi's Mansion and Rogue Squadron, because they released those games before the console even came out. I went in there. The reason why I bought the GameCube was to get Smash Bros. Melee, because I was obsessed with Smash Bros. On the N64. It was my favorite game for the system. Couldn't wait to get the sequel. Come to find out, Melee didn't release right away. They only had two games, Luigi's Mansion and Rogue Squadron. So I ended up picking this up. I'm a Luigi's fan, and I loved it. This game was great. Finally out on his own. He had to rescue Mario, whatever. Use a vacuum, flashlight. Amazing graphics. GameCube was the best graphics Nintendo ever had until I think Wii U. And then Wii U and Switch are better, but the Wii had worse graphics than GameCube somehow. We're going to start with Nintendo exclusive games, I think, or first party games. Mario Sunshine. This got rave reviews, so I picked it up. It's horrible. I hated every second of it. the platforming's annoying. The water mechanic gimmick was kind of cool, but I didn't like all the back and forth he had to do, running around between different levels and worlds to collect all the stars. Didn't like it. So my friend, who was a huge Mario nerd, was able to beat the game. So I borrowed his memory card and I beat it just so I could see the ending. Didn't like the gameplay. I don't like 3D Mario games. Here it is, the reason why I bought the console. Super Smash Bros. Melee. Loved it to death. Great game, even though they nerfed Donkey Kong a bit from his N64 counterpart. I still mained him, did very well. Used to beat all my friends, and whenever you go to a store that had a kiosk where you could play GameCube, Melee was usually in it. I'd play people and kids in the store and always win. And once went to a video game convention where there was a professional Super Smash Bros. Melee player there, and I got whipped 1-on-1. But his friend and 2 other people at the convention, we got a melee going where we all play at once, and I was able to win that, sneak a win, so I was pretty proud of myself. But I used to play people in school and everything. I mean, this was a huge deal, playing this game. Next up is the Mario Tennis. I love the gimmicky sports Mario titles. I loved them on N64. It continued here. This is a really fun game. Next up is Mario Kart Double Dash, my all-time favorite Mario Kart game. Even though the Switch one now that came out is getting there, I mean, but it is missing the special moves. I love that each character had a unique move they could use. My favorite 2 to use was Baby Bowser and the Koopa Trooper, because I liked their special moves. I loved being able to switch. Loved all the courses. Loved the items, controls. My favorite Mario Kart game. This one also includes the bonus disc, because I pre-ordered it. Long live Mario Golf. I loved it on the N64. I even liked it on the Game Boy. Had to get this. This was mind-blowing graphics, amazing courses, lots of fun modes to do. I love this game. Beat it to death. Couldn't get enough of it. Mario Strikers, a Mario soccer game. I didn't really love this one as much as I thought I would. The gameplay wasn't as fun as I thought. Now on to the Mario Parties. 4, 5, and 6. I loved Mario Party on the N64. It's actually the game I bought my system with when I bought my N64. So I was excited to get these. These are a lot of fun to play with friends. You'd either have the greatest time in the world or ruin friendships, but these are all great games, except for Mario Party 6. Now, Mario Party 6 came with the gimmick of a microphone where they'd have trivia questions and you could answer, but the mic technology wasn't what it needed to be at the time. It was horrible. So if the answer was Bowser, you'd say Bowser, and it'd say Thwomp is the wrong answer. If the answer was Princess Peach, you'd say Princess Peach, and it would say Thwomp is not the answer. No matter what you said into mic, 80% of the time I thought you were saying Thwomp. It was really annoying. Next up is Wario World. I really enjoyed this game. It was 3D graphics, 2D platforming game, side-scrolling. Loved it. WarioWare Inc. I mean, this was an amazing game on the Game Boy Advance. So to be able to get a GameCube version, love these mini games. So much fun. Pigman's like an RTS or something that they hid in like a cutesy Nintendo alien-like world. I didn't really like it. Wasn't a lot of fun. Because I mained Donkey Kong in the original Smash Bros., he became my favorite character. I mean, I used to love the original Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr.'s in the arcades, but I did not grow up with a Super Nintendo, so I didn't play the Donkey Kong Country games, so I didn't know a lot about that character. But once I mained him in Smash Bros., I became obsessed with the character and would buy all the games. I love rhythm games, so Donkey Konga was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. Donkey Konga 2 was great. Jungle Beat sucked because, I mean, the graphics were amazing. Donkey Kong never looked better. But I just hate the Donkey Kong Country gameplay. I went back as an adult and bought all the Donkey Kong Country games, and I couldn't stand them. I did not like the gameplay. Graphics were always good on those games. I just didn't like the gameplay. And I have the drums, or had them. I remember borrowing them to a friend of mine. I don't know if he ever returned them. I moved 3 times in a very short period of time, and I lost the drums, or I can't find them. So either I have them or my friend lost them, but they were great games. Last Nintendo first-party game was F-Zero X. I really enjoyed this. I love arcade racers. The speed was awesome. I loved you could bash people up, knock them off course, destroy their cars. It was great. I'm a huge anime nerd, so whenever I see games based off animes, I gotta get them, especially One Piece. This is a Mario Party ripoff, and it was actually pretty fun. Not as good as Mario Party, but... And this is Robotech action third-person game where you could transform into the jet and the robot. Love it. They did a great job. Amazing graphics, great gameplay. Now on to fighting games. Bloody Roar, Primal Fury. Love this game. It was a 2D fighter with 3D graphics, and you could change into different animals, kind of like werewolves or whatever. Werecats, were-animals, were-lions. And you had special moves, and it was called Bloody Roar because there was tons of 3D blood in it. I don't remember if this version did or not, but I remember I had a lot of fun playing it. And then, of course, because I have the system, gotta have a Godzilla game. Love Godzilla. This game was actually a lot of fun. It was arena-type fighter. You could play 4 players at once, just go around fighting each other. Very crazy, wonky physics, but it was really cool to see all the different characters. It was a lot of fun to play. Next up is my Capcom collection. Was my favorite video game company for a while. Resident Evil. I only played Resident Evil 1, couldn't beat it. Didn't play 2 or 3 because I didn't own a PlayStation. But Resident Evil 4, I kept seeing videos of it that they changed the gameplay. I was so excited to try it. I'm glad I did. I beat this game 3 times. I loved it so much. Got the infinite ammo and all that. And great story, amazing graphics, terrific gameplay. I'm sure everyone on Earth knows what this game is because they re-release it on every console that ever comes out. But this is the first place it ever was. I was there at ground zero. Beautiful Joe. This was an achievement in gameplay mechanics where you could fast forward, slow down time, or reverse time to get past different difficulties in this side-scrolling platformer, and also to defeat bosses. Amazing game. Loved it. I am a Mega Man fan, and this Anniversary Collection had a bunch of games in it, 10 Mega Man games. So you got to play all the classics. Loved it. Here goes a Nintendo game that wasn't developed by Nintendo. It was made by Rare. It was a third-person action game. I actually liked it. I thought it was a good story, amazing graphics, a lot of fun to play. While I'm not a fan of the Star Wars movies, I am a fan of the Star Wars video games. In the arcades, I was always playing the Star Wars trilogy and the pod racing. And Episode 1 had an amazing pinball game. So, when there was nothing to buy on release date of the video games, saw this here, saw the commercials, I thought it looked pretty good, and it was amazing. I mean, I sucked at it. I had to have my friends help me beat it. But it was a lot of fun. Graphics were amazing. I really enjoyed it. Another one, didn't like the movies or the character, but this game was so much fun. Space Batman. You got to do all kinds of gadgets and things. I mean, grappling hooks, and it was an awesome game. Now on to Batman game. This is based off the animated series. It was a third-person action game. It was pretty good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't the greatest. There goes some JRPGs that got good reviews, so I decided to pick them up. Never had time to play them, though. I was always playing something else, so I don't really know how good they were. I've never been to Universal Studios, so when I seen this, I thought this would be the closest I'd ever get. It's a game where you play the rides. It was a horrible, horrible game. And I've still never been to Universal Studios. I was a huge fan of NFL Blitz and NBA Jam, arcade sports titles like that. So when I heard they were coming out with a hockey game like that, I had to check it out and was not disappointed. If you score enough goals in a row, you can come on fire, and very arcadey fun thing to do. Absolutely loved THQ's games on the N64. So I thought that would translate over to GameCube. I was wrong. This game's nothing like those N64 games. Didn't really like this game. Now another company I love is Sega. When Sega went out of business with the Dreamcast, thanks to stupid old DVD player PS2, they started making games for other companies, Nintendo. So I tried to get the games on here now that they didn't have their own console. So this is one I have for Dreamcast. It's my favorite RPG. So I got it for the GameCube as well because they added new villains to fight, a little more story. It was great. Next up is the Sonic Mega Collection. 7 great games. Love Sonic. Was able to get these. This is the first time I ever played some of these games like Sonic 3, Pinball, Knuckles, 3D Blast. This one, I only really had these growing up. They came out with another collection. This one was even cooler. This one had Sonic CD, which I never played before, and very enjoyable. Sonic Fighters, I did play in Las Vegas when I was real young. I think I was like 15. And one of the casinos had it in their arcades. I really enjoyed it. And then Sonic R, which I already had for the Saturn. I don't know what Sega was thinking with these games. Weirdest thing I ever heard in my life. Super Monkey Ball, but they were fun. Skill-based games. And what really sold me on these games were the mini games. You could play tennis, bowling, golf, and pool. Pool and golf were my favorites. Probably the game that I put the most time into, besides Melee and Mario Golf, is Sonic 2 Adventure Battle. They took Sonic 2, an amazing Dreamcast game, and made it better graphics, got rid of some of the gameplay glitches, and you used to raise your child on a VMU. Now you could use the Game Boy Advance. And I became addicted to that. I would take my Game Boy Advance and my child to work. I would train him up, feed him, and then race him against the other childs. I was able to evolve him twice. Loved it to death. This is the last game in my collection. It's a preview disc. Back in the day before you had DLC demos, you had to get discs in either magazines or whatever. I don't remember how you get these. Maybe if you buy a bundle, but this is one that had some cool stuff in it. And the GameCube had very tiny discs, and I found these really tiny disc holders. This is where I kept my games. Love these things. I think the tiny disc thing was a really cool idea. I know they did it so people couldn't bootleg the games like what happened to Dreamcast. Memory cards, that's how you saved your memory. There's no internal memory in the system. Alright, that's it for my video. Thanks for watching.